Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Global Score Boost. Today we are breaking down CELPIP Speaking Task 1, giving advice step by step. We will cover timing, preparation, structure, examiner expectations, and high scoring strategies that can move you beyond CLB 7. Let's start by understanding exactly what this task requires. So first, what exactly is task 1? Task 1 requires you to give advice to someone, usually a friend, in a specific situation. Remember, you are not telling a story, you are not debating an issue. You are having a conversation with a friend in a structured, practical way. Your response must always be clear, natural, logical, and supportive. Now that we understand the task, let's move on to timing and how to prepare effectively. For task 1, you get 30 seconds to prepare and 90 seconds to speak. During preparation time, you have to identify the core problem or situation, choose 2 to 3 main suggestions with examples, and plan your conclusion with an encouragement. You would have to use keywords when you are thinking, not full sentences. This helps you to stay natural and confident. With timing clear, let's talk about the ideal structure for your response. Here is a simple structure for a high scoring response. First, greet your friend and acknowledge the situation. Also, empathize to show understanding of what the problem is. After that, you give 2 to 3 clear suggestions with examples. You now conclude your advice with reassurance, encouragement, and support to your friend. Following this structure keeps your response organized and coherent. Now, let's hear what a strong opening actually sounds like. A strong opening sets the tone. For example, "Hey Sarah, I'm really sorry to hear that you are struggling with balancing work and exam preparation. I completely understand how overwhelming that can feel." Then transition naturally. "If I were you, I would begin by..." Notice how this sounds friendly, natural, and confident. It shows empathy. You are empathizing with your friend's situation. Now, we will focus on how to properly develop your advice. Many test takers lose marks because they give weak advice. Instead of saying you should study more, try: "First of all, I would strongly recommend creating a weekly study schedule because it will help you manage your time more effectively." Then expand. For example, you could dedicate 1 hour each evening specifically to speaking practice. That is a high level organization. Always try to explain your suggestions. Development is key to a higher score. But beyond development, it's important to know what examiners are listening for. CELPIP examiners evaluate test takers based on task fulfillment, listenability, coherence or content depth, and vocabulary. They usually want to know if they can understand you. Is your response structured? Does your advice fit the situation? Or how controlled is your language grammar? They are not impressed by your memorized templates. They want natural, clear English. A big part of this is listenability, so let's focus on that next. Listenability is about how easy it is for the examiner to follow you. How clear is your pronunciation? Do you have a natural pacing when you're talking? Do you have a minimal hesitation in between your speeches? How controlled is your grammar? Remember, you don't need a specific accent when speaking to your friend. You just have to sound clear, confident, and fluent. You are speaking to a friend and not presenting a thesis. You would have to avoid sounding robotic and having unnatural pauses. Now, let's talk about coherence and content. Coherence and content means your ideas must have depth and flow logically. Connect ideas smoothly by using linking phrases like, first of all, if you are giving your first suggestion to your friend. In addition, if you are adding another idea to the first suggestion you have made. On top of that, another important thing to consider is overall, if you are concluding and encouraging your friend. Make sure every suggestion directly addresses the situation. Avoid unrelated ideas. They reduce your score. Now, let's focus on vocabulary, which can really boost your marks. High scoring responses use precise and flexible vocabulary. Examiners look out for topic appropriate vocabulary, collocations, and natural expressions. Instead of saying you should study more when advising your friend, you can replace that with you might want to allocate dedicated time for focused preparation. Remember, precision matters. For example, instead of saying good, you can replace that with beneficial, challenging instead of saying bad, or time consuming instead of saying hard. Use collocations like manage time effectively, develop a routine, reduce stress. Natural varied language increases your vocabulary score. Remember, vocabulary is important, but it's also crucial to fully answer the task. Let's talk about task fulfillment. Task fulfillment is all about making sure you fully answer the question and meet the examiner's expectations. Ask yourself, did you greet your audience, that is your friend, and acknowledge the situation? Also, did you answer the question directly? For example, if the task asks for advice about balancing work and study, your response should focus only on practical strategies for that situation, not personal stories or unrelated topics. Also, did you give a practical advice? For instance, suggestions like create a weekly study schedule or focus on your weakest skill first are specific and actionable. Always avoid vague advice like just try harder. Examiners want advice they can clearly understand and follow. Ask yourself, did you stay relevant to the topic? Every sentence should connect to the person's problem. Irrelevant details reduce your score and can make your response feel unorganized. Think of task fulfillment as your checklist. If you tick all the boxes, you are already on your way to a high scoring response. Remember, strategy and structure are important, but everything you say must relate to the task. That is what separates CLB 7 from CLB 9 or 12. Now that we understand task fulfillment, let's explore three high scoring strategies you can use every time to make your response even stronger. The first high scoring strategy is using conditional language and the EAR formula. Use conditional language naturally when giving advice. Conditional phrases show that you are giving friendly, practical advice and they make your speech sound polished and confident. Examples: if I were you, I would suggest, you might consider, it could help if you. Why this works? It demonstrates empathy and politeness. It also makes your suggestions sound thoughtful and not forceful. Examiners immediately recognize that you are responding appropriately to the situation. Pro tip: use the EAR formula as well. The EAR formula helps structure your advice clearly and naturally. The first one is empathy. Start by acknowledging the person's situation. For example, I completely understand how stressful this must feel for you. The second formula is advice. Give your practical suggestion using conditional language. Example: if I were you, I would create a weekly study schedule. The third one is reason. Explain why your advice will help your friend. For instance, this will help you manage your time effectively and reduce stress. Using the EAR formula ensures that your response is organized, complete, and high scoring. Next, we will see how to make your advice even stronger by adding specific examples to support it. The second high scoring strategy is giving 2 to 3 strong ideas and supporting them with realistic examples. Examiners reward responses that are practical and easy to visualize. This makes your advice credible and shows that you understand the situation. Example: you could dedicate weekends to full practice tests to build stamina. For instance, if speaking is your weakest skill, you might record yourself and review your answers daily. Another example is creating a study plan where each weekday focuses on a different skill. Remember, depth over quantity of ideas. Why this works? It develops your ideas fully, which increases your task fulfillment score. It also shows that you can think critically about solutions and not just give generic advice. Finally, let's talk about strategy 3, which is often overlooked but very important: pacing. The third high scoring strategy is speaking at a controlled pace with natural pauses. Many candidates make the mistake of rushing to fill all 90 seconds, which reduces clarity and can lower scores. Tips for pacing: pause slightly between ideas when advising your friend to help the examiner follow your response. Also, take a short breath before giving examples or concluding. For example, I am sure if you stay consistent, you will see improvement very soon. Let me know if you need any help. Another thing to do is to avoid filler words like and which disrupt flow. Aim for 130 to 160 words per minute, which is clear but still conversational. Be confident, supportive, and complete the task fully. Why this works? Good pacing improves listenability and overall clarity. It makes your response feel confident and professional. Examiners can also track your ideas without confusion. Now that we've covered the 3 high scoring strategies, let's summarize everything we have learned so far before moving into the sample response. Let's take a moment to review everything we've covered so far. This is your roadmap for a high scoring Task 1 response. Here is what you need to focus on. First, follow a clear structure. Start by greeting your friend, acknowledge the situation, empathize, give 2 to 3 suggestions with explanations, and conclude with encouragement. A clear structure keeps your response organized and easy for the examiner to follow. Also, develop your ideas fully. Don't just state advice. Explain why it's helpful, give a small example, or add a reason. The more developed your response is, the higher your task fulfillment score. Remember to use your linking phrases. Words like first of all, in addition, on top of that, overall help your ideas flow smoothly and increase coherence. Also, stay relevant to the topic. Every sentence should relate to the situation. Avoid off-topic details as they can lower your score quickly. Lastly, speak clearly and confidently. Maintain natural pacing, control your pronunciation, and avoid filler words. Clarity and confidence make a huge difference in listenability. What is our key takeaway? Structure plus language control is equal to higher scores. Even the best advice won't earn top marks if it's disorganized or hard to understand. Now that we've summarized the strategies and key points, let's see how all of this comes together in a complete high scoring sample response. CELPIP Speaking Task 1. Giving advice. You have 30 seconds to prepare and 90 seconds to respond. The question is, advise your friend on balancing work and CELPIP exam preparation. Below is a concise, high-scoring example. Hi, Sarah. I completely understand how overwhelming it can feel to balance a full-time job while preparing for the CELPIP exam. However, I truly believe that with the right strategy and consistency, you can successfully manage both. First of all, I recommend creating a structured weekly study schedule. For instance, instead of studying randomly, allocate specific time slots for each skill, such as listening on Mondays and speaking practice on Wednesdays. This approach will help you stay organized and reduce last-minute stress. Even dedicating one focused hour per day can make a substantial difference over time. Additionally, it's crucial to prioritize quality over quantity. Rather than studying for long, exhausting hours after work, focus on targeted and purposeful practice. For example, you could record one speaking response daily and evaluate it critically. This method will significantly enhance your fluency and confidence without leading to burnout. Finally, make sure you maintain a healthy balance by getting adequate rest and taking short breaks. A well-rested mind performs far better under exam conditions. Overall, if you stay consistent, follow a clear plan, and practice strategically, I am confident you will excel both at work and in your self-preparation. Let me know if you need help creating a personalized study plan. And that's a wrap for CELPIP Speaking Task 1, Giving Advice. If you want to master the structure, boost your fluency, and start speaking like a CLB 9 to 12 candidate, don't stop here. Subscribe to Global Score Boost right now. In the next video, we are breaking down Speaking Task 2, talking about a personal experience with structure, strategy, and a high scoring sample you can model. I'll see you in the next lesson. Let's boost that score. Bye!